Alright, I'm going to start with the direct drum. We're going to be using Sonic's 4L60E pump body bushing in the rear position, rear location. Okay, so here's the Sonic's bushing. And then here's the factory bushing. Sonic's bushing is a little wider. Alright, just always double check your bushing, make sure it's as straight as it can be. Alright, it's going to be right below that bevel. Okay, flip it around. Now some of these bushings, unfortunately, the ends are, kind of loose, so you want to be extra careful. Luckily this one, well, it looks like this one's actually going in. Oops. This one's going in all the way, which should not be. So we're going to have to get a different bushing, another bushing for this location. Alright, I don't know how obvious this is going to be on camera, but when we compare the original bushing and the new one, you could see that the original bushing is slightly wider in diameter, slightly bigger than the one that came in the kit. So the one in the kit is out of spec. It's too small. So I have one other bushing. It's also coincidentally the same exact size as this. I test fit it, same deals. So when you're in this situation, you can do a couple things. One, if you have an older bushing, you can try to yank it out, in another drum that maybe is no good and install it into this one. That's not ideal because chances are it's worn out. But if it's not, then it'll work. That's fine. The next move is to just simply go get a bushing that is dimensionally correct. So it's kind of one of the challenges in dealing with the bushings on transmissions, especially this transmission, because this bushing in particular, because it's so narrow, okay, it can be very vulnerable. And I'd almost prefer a little bit wider bushing there, but I don't know of any that are on the market like that. So, alright, let's see what I can come up with and we'll go from there. Okay, we're going to see if this bushing will work. This is that other drum that's featured in the forward and direct drums video. So this drum could never be reused. It's got so much wear in the ceiling ring area. There's no way to really fix that, so no big deal. Alright. Grab it. Alright, we're going to install it in the other drum and just see if it's going to fly or not. I mean, I really don't like doing this, but it could take me quite a while to find a bushing that is, you know, dimensionally correct. Because all these bushings are from, you know, the aftermarket, so it's kind of the unfortunate deal when working with this stuff. Okay, let's see. If I can force this in with my hands, then we're kind of out of luck for right now. All right. This appears to be okay. So let's go back to the press and install it. We'll see what happens. We'll test it on the center support, and hopefully everything goes well. I always like to support drums like this with something other than the actual drum itself. This drum probably wouldn't be an issue, but like, you know, 4L60E drums where it's somewhat a little bit thinner in the area around the base, there's a small slight potential you could warp it if you're not careful. Okay, one thing that, I mean, you know, of course this stuff occurs to me after the fact, but one thing I might suggest if you're in this situation is put a little bit of red Loctite on the back of the bushing or on the inner bore, just to make doubly sure it's not going to walk. But this went in just as it should. You know, I'm not too worried about that happening. Okay, let's test it on the center support. Okay, very nice freedom of movement, yet no side play anywhere. When you're using Teflon rings, a lot of times the drum and the support won't like to come apart or off each other because the rings kind of get caught up just a little bit, so you may need like a screwdriver or a small pry bar. So just carefully wedge and separate them. Okay, check. Make sure that the rings didn't get messed up, and then put your sizing tool or hose clamp right back on. If you need to use 3 hose clamps, I mean, that's fine too. No big deal. But this drum is done. So, alright, let's move to the next piece. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and do the center support. Okay, the first bushing is just going to go flush with the bore in there. Again, I believe that this is basically the same bushing as the rear stator in a 4L60E, though I could be wrong. They just look awfully similar in terms of their dimension and construction. Let me do this first. Seat it. Alright, the front bushing is going to go in that secondary bore where you see the step here. So it's works out to be 15/16 below the deck surface here. I'm gonna double check my driver. I don't think this is the right one. Okay, I'm gonna have to take the sizer off. I want to check it real quick. Okay. So I can't tell if the camera's catching that, but it's right at where it needs to be depth-wise. So okay, spins nice and free, but no side play. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm gonna real quick adjust the depth of this bushing. I think it could go down just a smidge more. Okay, that's good. So, alright, next up we'll do the planet. Alright, so here's our rear planet, and that's that specialty bushing driver tool that I have mislabeled. So this will do the rear planet on this larger step, and then it'll also do the bushing in the forward hub slash ring gear on that smaller step. So like I said, I don't know what in the world I was thinking when I wrote direct drum on there. Alright. Okay, we'll check it with the sun gear. Okay, looks good. Slight bit of side play, but I mean, well within normal ranges. And I should say normal ranges of acceptability. You could actually check for bushing clearance if you'd like to. In fact, I'm looking at this. And I think I need to... This side here is a little bit higher than this side, so I want to make sure that that gets corrected. You can use a feeler gauge to check your clearance between your bushing and your workpiece, but I usually don't find it necessary with most transmissions. Okay. Alright, let's check it again. Alright, after I adjust this side, we'll check it again with the sun gear. Okay. Looks good, feels good. Alright, now we'll do the sun gear. So this thing's going to go to a depth of 11/16 of an inch. Alright, let's see where we're at. Okay, you have a lube hole right here. You make sure that you're past that lube hole. So 11/16 is going to be the small hash right below the 3/4 line. So it looks like we got a couple of strokes to go, and then it'll be at depth. You see the parting line right there just below the loophole? And I can't tell if the camera's picking that up or not, but there's a parting line right here. You want to be right below that parting line. Okay, grab your output shaft. It's going to be this surface right here that you're going to check. Okay, nice and free. It's going to be some side play just because so much of this sun gear is actually not making contact with the output shaft. It's only that one journal surface right there. But the contact that it's making is consistent with what I know to be correct, so we're ready to move on. Okay, next is going to be our low reverse support, our low reverse piston housing. So 3/16 of an inch. I get the driver, or driver handle I should say. Okay, it's getting there. Okay, it's a little bit more than 3/16, but it should be fine. Okay, good there. So, ready for the next piece. Alright, now we're gonna do the overdrive planet. So here's that bushing driver again, the quote-unquote direct drum bushing driver. So this is just going to install into the board. Pretty straightforward deal. Again, as always, the challenge is getting it nice and square. this side's a little higher, so you know, it's slightly cocked sideways. I'm gonna level it out, then we'll finish installing it. Okay, so just a little bit more and then we'll be good to go. Okay, there is a ledge down there, so it should catch and square the bushing. Looks like we had a high spot right here. Okay, you're going to grab your race, because that's where it's going to go. Just like that. Okay, obviously the sun gear would be meshed with the planetaries themselves. Alright, now we're going to do our coast clutch drum. So this gets installed to a depth of 7/16 of an inch. And it's another stubborn bushing that doesn't like to stay square. So you know, again, you gotta be on it like a cheap suit. And we'll check it. Oh yeah, we're not even close. Yeah, we're just shy of 1/4 of an inch. So 7/16 is obviously 1/16 less than 8/16, so we're a little over, I should say a little under halfway through, halfway down. Got a little over halfway to go. Okay, looks like we're just about there. So again, you see the back side, there is a parting line in the bore there, so that'll let you know. Here's your journal surface. Okay, feels good. Okay, last but certainly not least, our forward ring gear / forward clutch hub. Actually, this or this will work. I'm gonna actually use this one. Get that bigger handle so that we can reach it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something here so that we have a positive stop for this bushing. And this one's actually a little wide. Now I'm not going to need that big handle. It's like I'm playing musical chairs with all this tooling, but I want to make sure I don't mess this up. Man, Leaning Tower of Pisa. And get our front planet. I mean, there's supposed to be a bearing here, but I'll test it without it. Perfect. Okay, let's go back to the bench. We'll summarize, kind of cover a couple key points you want to keep in mind, and then we'll wrap everything up with bushings. Okay, we have all of our bushings installed, so just want to kind of cover a few quick things here. One, all the specialty tools that if you're interested in acquiring them, I'll let you know what those are. So we have two handles, both Kent Moore. This one's J8092, the long one, and then the short one is J42183. And then the bushing driver that works on the forward ring gear, the rear planet, and the overdrive planet is going to be J25019-9. Okay, that's J25019-9. It works there, here, and there. Okay, and it works with either of these two handles. There's also another tool that works with this location here specifically, that is J21474-8. You saw me use this tool to kind of act as a stop for the front ring gear / forward clutch hub. This tool is also a Kent Moore tool. It is J35739-3. And then the rest of the tooling that I used was all just standard transmission bushing drivers. Yeah, every single one of them except for one came from the same set. So the one that I used for the forward center support bushing came from a different set, but you can get these tools, at least for the Kent Moore stuff, you can get them on eBay. That's where I get every single Kent Moore tool I have. Okay, this last tool is also a Kent Moore tool. It's a J5191 bearing installer. I mean, I don't know what kind of bearings it installs, but you've seen me use it in countless bushing videos as a, press aid or kind of a quasi handle. So very useful. The only other bushing we have to install is a case bushing, and that'll be part of case prep. So that's very straightforward, no mystery there. All right, the other takeaway for those that are looking to get into these transmissions for the first time, I strongly recommend, one, and it's been a while since I've done these, so forgive me, but if you have direct drums that are otherwise bad, but the bushings in them are good, you may want to think about keeping those drums aside to use those bushings in future builds if you have an out-of-spec bushing. And in the aftermarket, this doesn't happen all that often. Don't think that it's like a major systemic problem, but every once in a great while you'll get a bushing that is simply out of spec. And so I had two front direct drum bushings, brand new, and both of them were out of spec. They just slid right in, like you saw earlier in this segment. Okay, this video is going to be a standalone video as well as the kind of summarization of the main bushing video, and I'm also going to do a separate video on the issue with the direct drum bushing so that folks are aware of it and it's not buried in this long bushing segment. So anyway, that's bushings. We're ready to move on to prepping the case and then begin putting together all the sub-assemblies.